Hi, I'm Shane at Glover Nursery in West Jordan, Utah. Today we're going to give you some instructions for planting a water lily. So today we're going to pot our hardy water lily from a tuber. If you plant your lily from a tuber, it's just going to be a clone of the parent plant, so it should have the same color flower and be identical to the plant it came off of. When you're potting your water lily, you're more concerned about the width of the container rather than the depth. How a water lily grows, it roots along the pot horizontally. So if you were using a smaller pot, you could really restrict the growth really rapidly if you're using a narrower pot. The soil media you want to use with a water lily should have very low organic matter in it, such as compost or peat moss. Those types of things can flow out of the pot very easily and foul the water. We're going to start by just filling up the container with your soil. You want to get the soil pretty close to the top, maybe a few inches below the rim. And you're going to want to pack it down real good. Get it nice and compacted. Fewer air bubbles you have in this soil when you put it in the water, the less likely your tuber is going to float. Okay. So now, if there's any damaged leaves, now is a good time to take those off. They're not really going to do much for you anyway. I like to remove, if you have big flower buds on them, I like to also remove the flower buds so you can put encourage more of the energy towards the roots so you can get this to root in quicker. But don't worry if you don't see any roots. As long as you have a nice growing tip with leaves coming out of it, the tuber should be viable. So when you plant this, you're going to want to make sure that this growing tip is up out of the soil at the end of the process here. You don't want to bury this at all. So I like to kind of stick the back end of the tuber up against the pot and down into the soil a little bit so it's anchored into the soil. You want to put the cut end of the rhizome towards one side of the pot because this is going to root horizontally to the other side of the pot. So if you put it all the way over here in the beginning, it'll have more room to grow. We're gonna fill this the rest of the way up. Okay, remember to keep that growing tip up out of the soil. And pack it down real good. This is an aquatic planting tablet. There's several different ways you can fertilize a water lily. This is just the easiest way, and the dosage is on the back. So with this brand new tuber, I'm just going to use 2 of these and put fairly close to the tuber. You want to get these down next to the tuber so that the nutrient is available to the plant, and then cover the holes that you just made so that this fertilizer is not leaching out into the water. And last, I'm just going to cover this soil with some pea gravel. That's going to help the soil from leaching out of the pot and into the water, and also help keep fish from digging in the pot. It's not a bad idea to place a heavy or heavier rock over the tuber initially. These tubers are really buoyant and have a tendency to float if they are dislodged from the soil. So if you place a stone or something heavy over the top of the tuber, the less likely that's going to happen. Now when you lower the pot into the water, you want to do it slowly. There's going to be a lot of air bubbles in that soil. If you drop it in there rapidly, you'll probably end up dislodging that tuber and it's just going to float and you're going to have to redo this. So you'll see that the pads are totally submersed. You don't need to worry about this. Those pads should be able to reach the surface of the water within a day or two. And the ideal depth on the water lily is going to be about 2 feet. Some varieties can go deeper than that. But 2 feet's really good because they can be overwintered in that depth, and they're not down in the really cold water. So in the spring, they're able to break dormancy and generate leaves a lot quicker. Again, I'm Shane with Glover Nursery in West Jordan, Utah. We've just talked about planting a water lily in your pond.